Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Patreon.com/the Derrick Lamont Experience, your one-stop shop for your gaming, sports, music, film, and television news. Of course, this is the last word. This airs on Sunday afternoons at 2 p.m. and then on the free feeds the following Saturday morning. So if you want to get this in its original time slot, you need to subscribe here at patreon.com/the Derrick Lamont Experience. That is, if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, whatever. Today, I want to talk about something. Lately, I've spent some time talking about what's going on with the brands at PlayStation and Microsoft, aka Xbox. Haven't really said anything about Nintendo because I'm still waiting to see what the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to be. Now, of course, we've seen the retail unit of the Switch 2, the new dock and all that stuff, but I want to see how this DLSS is really going to help this thing and what kind of games we're going to see at launch. But we're going to wait on that. They have a Nintendo Direct scheduled for April 2nd, and I can't wait to see that. So really looking forward to that. Today we're talking about PlayStation again. And Shuhei Yoshida is kind of doing a podcast tour, if you will. Shu, of course, a legend for the PlayStation brand. Him, Ken Kutaragi, guys like that, been around 30 some odd years. Sean Layden, guys like that, guys I had tremendous respect for. And then there was Jim Ryan, and I'm just like, this is a finance guy, right? Jim Ryan's not a gamer. I don't believe that Jim Ryan went home and played video games. I do believe Shu played games. Excuse me, Reggie Fils-Aimé, who was at one point running Nintendo of America. I believe Reggie went home and played video games. I still believe Phil Spencer goes home and plays fucking video games. Um, my guy, Hideo Kojima just doesn't design and make games. I think he goes home and plays other fucking video games. I don't think Jim Ryan goes home and sits down at a PlayStation, an Xbox, Nintendo, or a PC and says, "This looks really cool. I'm going to play this." And I can't do a stupid British accent, but it doesn't matter. That's neither here nor there. I get it. You do need some finance guys, but they should not be making creative decisions. All right. If Jim Ryan wants to make the call on how many PlayStation 5 units are going to be shipped to, retailers like Walmart or Target, or what the allotment would be for Amazon and Best Buy and GameStop, that's exactly where the fuck he belongs. Should Jim Ryan have been making decisions about PlayStation Creative? No, not at all. I'm sorry. Anyway, this article I'm quoting from, it comes from pushsquare.com. Shuhei Yoshida really appreciated indie game role created by Jim Ryan. I think that's a fucking lie because I've heard what Shuhei said. Article says there's been an outpouring of support on social media this week for former PlayStation Studios boss Shuhei Yoshida after he said in an interview with VentureBeat that he, quote, had no choice but to take his role as indie games champion within Sony. When Shu took that job, everybody was like, "You were head of first party studios. You were head of PlayStation Studios Worldwide, SIE Worldwide, and now you're head of independent games. That makes no sense. That's not even a lateral move. That's a demotion." And it's true, it's form. And everybody's like, "No, it's not a demotion." It's like, no, it's not a fucking lateral move, and it ain't a fucking promotion. So what does that say to you? That says demotion. Demotion, my good friend. Um, In comments which went viral, Mitch to the executives surprised the well-loved industry icon revealed, quote, "When ex-CEO Jim Ryan asked me to do the indie job, the choice was do that or leave the company." No, Jim, you leave the fucking company. Now Jim Ryan is, of course, gone from PlayStation, but the stench is still all over the brand. I'm sorry. They're trying to tell us that these studios on their own decided that they wanted to make live service games, and I think that's a bunch of bullshit. All right? And also, Bungie, who I've talked about many times before, telling Sony and Naughty Dog specifically, "Yeah, this looks really cool, but what you have to do to make money on, a live service game and blah, 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 blah. And this looks cool. I don't know how much money you're going to make from it and blah, blah." And I'm not quoting verbatim, so please don't think that. I just think that Bungie really needs to shut the fuck up. They told Naughty Dog and PlayStation Studios, Herman Hulst, that's another fucking conversation I don't want to have right now, but you guys know how I feel about Herman Hulst. They told them that, and then Bungie turned around and proceeded to miss their targets, their revenue targets, and now they're in some shit over at PlayStation. So it's all very interesting. Um, Anyway, this outraged parts of the fan base as Yoshida is rightfully recognized as overseeing the most prolific part of the PS studio's history. Many felt the ultimatum was outright disrespectful, even if Yoshida did go on to explain that he felt, quote, very strongly about indies and really wanted to do the job. Now, in a Sacred Symbol Plus interview paywall, Yoshida has explained that the indie role was created specifically for him after a series of studios had publicly criticized PlayStation's approach. Okay. Oh, I'm not exactly mad at it, but still, no. Quote, Jim was worried about the situation with indies, and to his credit, he really supported me within the company and sent a message that it is very important to support our partners, including indies. So I really appreciate Jim doing that, and I really appreciated his suggestion to do this indie work and the position he created. I really don't think anything bad about Jim. If anything, I'm really grateful for how he helped and supported me for the past 4 years. Yoshida would, of course, go on to do incredible work. As he noted in his interview with VentureBeat, the health of indie games on PlayStation 5 is incredibly strong right now, and some titles have even been performing better on PlayStation than on PC. Speaking specifically about his role as head of PlayStation Studios, Yoshida acknowledged he had been doing the job for a long time and always wondered whether it'd be a good idea to bring in someone new with fresh ideas. Probably not a bad idea, but Herman Holst, probably not the best option. Just saying. Quote, I enjoyed my time and wanted to continue, of course, but in the back of my head, I thought, quote, maybe it's good for a new person to come in with fresh ideas and perspectives, especially current PS Studios boss Herman Hulse, who's a bit younger with new ideas. A bunch of remakes and remasters? Doesn't seem like a new idea. She pointed out that he had no interest in making TV shows and movies based on PlayStation Studio properties, but noted that Hulse had done an incredible job building PS Productions, which has had a role in the creation of HBO's award-winning winning adaptation of The Last of Us, among others. Um, the comments are very interesting. They got him on Sacred Symbols Plus, the interview I've been waiting on. Gonna have to restart my Patreon. You should do that. Colin and Last Stand Media make great content. Colin's video the other day about the situation going on over at Xbox and how he likened them to Icarus and flying too close to the sun, I thought was brilliant. And if you haven't seen it, you should check it out. Someone else said, classic example of fans without all the facts projecting and filling in the gaps. They dislike Jim Ryan, so anything that can possibly be in his fault will be their minds. The world is usually far more nuanced, classy as ever from Shu. Hey, the Mighty Yant, I'm sorry, or Mighty Ant, whatever the fuck your name is. Good point. However, there's no way that Naughty Dog, Ben Studio, and all these other studios, Blue Point Games, you're telling me Blue Point Games said, hey, we want to make a live service God of War game. And Herman Hulse is like, yeah, go ahead. No big deal. Herman Hulse and Jim Ryan are like, yeah, go ahead. No big deal. That's what you do. That's not what Blue Point does. That is just not what fucking Blue Point Studios does. They told us they were working on a new IP, and we're like, okay, so are they doing an original game? Or is it something they created and organically and they incubated or something like that? And then we go on to find out it was a live service God of War game. There were 12 live service games greenlit under Jim Ryan. 8 of those games have been canceled. 9 if you include Concord. Let's stop taking up for Jim Ryan here, okay? Another comment says he also confirmed that he was the person who signed the contract that approved a Concord prototype with Probably Monsters, who was the owner of Firewalk at the time. Said he visited Firewalk and felt the team was talented and experienced to work with an online game, and Helldivers 2 was planned to be a PS5 launch game. Okay, if he took responsibility for Concord, then he should shoulder some of the blame. True. But Concord just came out back last August, and then we saw the trailer at Summer Game. No, not Summer Game Fest, the PlayStation Showcase, which was like a week or two before Summer Game Fest, if I'm not mistaken. By that time, he was already over indies. Herman Hulse was going out to PlayStation First Party Studios and checking these games out. So either he thought it looked good or too much money had already been sunk into the project and he didn't want to pull the plug. Probably should have. Somebody G Go.25 replied, quote, he literally said that it was either indies or him leaving PlayStation. There are no gaps to fill. That's pretty fucking cut and dry. That's pretty fucking cut and dry. I don't know any other way to like really look at it. You guys like Jim said, hey, you can do indies or you can go the fuck home. I wonder if the budgets for games like The Last of Us Part 2, which we found out was like upwards of $200 million or more, I wonder if the budgets of those games caused them to say, "Hey, we're spending X amount of money building these games. We need something more than a one-time purchase." I don't know. Nom Nom said fans will always find a way to blame Jimmy. I'm gonna blame Jim Ryan. I don't care what you say, Nom Nom. Yeah, excited to hear this new interview when it drops on YouTube. Colin and crew are knocking it out of the park. They absolutely are. I'll quote, there was a rumor during 2018, 2019 about power struggle between Ryan and Co. and Layton and maybe even Yoshida, which Ryan won. It starts to make sense now. Sean Layton is a game man. Sean Layton's a video game guy. Like, I don't like it's just strange how a finance guy got to that position and all the guys who were basically creatives had nothing to do with it. And now, because of that, 12 live service games got greenlit, and more than half of them are fucking gone now. And now we've seen, so let's count the remakes or remasters for PlayStation 5. The Last of Us Part 1, built from the ground up for the PlayStation 5. Okay. Last of Us Part 2 remastered. Okay. The Uncharted Legacy of Thieves collection, which is Uncharted 4, Thieves End, and Uncharted Lost Legacy. So those will be, that's one game combined, but really it's two. So let's call it four. Um, Demon Souls Remake was a launch title. I don't count that because it's a PS3 game, but technically The Last of Us Part 1 is a PS3 game. So apples and oranges, I get it. Horizon Zero Dawn remaster? Ring a bell? Anybody? 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 Grand Theft Auto 5, PlayStation 5 expanded and enhanced edition. I don't know what the fuck was expanded or enhanced about it. Until Dawn, a PlayStation 4 game remake. Um, Days Gone remastered. I'm sure there's more. Jim Ryan and Herman Holst, we saw their faces on those early PlayStation 5 showcases. So the current situation going on with the PlayStation 5 and the lack of first party content for that console, I'm going to put it on the shoulders of these guys. Notice I said first party content. There were indie games on the PlayStation 5. There is a lack of first party content for the PlayStation 5. Returnal, okay. What else is new? Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man Miles Morales is cross-gen. God of War Ragnarok was cross-gen. Okay, Gran Turismo 7. There's a lot of fucking issues, and everybody's just acting like we're supposed to sweep this stuff under the rug just because Jim Ryan is gone. And it's like, don't believe Shuhei Yoshida, the guy who spent 30 some odd. And Jim spent a fair fucking amount of time at PlayStation as well. But when it comes to the art, I will always be on the side of the creatives because that's what the fuck I am. And this is not to shit on the finance guys and girls, but I will always err on the side of the creative. That's just me. I'm sorry. You guys can call me whatever the fuck you want. I truly don't care. I don't. I think Shu was being as diplomatic as he possibly can be. He's not going to take the gloves off. I think he's being very classy. I'll say that. But there's more to this. Where there's smoke, there's usually fucking fire. And I don't think Shuhei's going to give us what we're looking for. I think that little bit that Jim said, you can do indies or you can go home. I think that's like the spiciest thing that we're going to get from this. I don't know. Anybody who's I'd like, I don't know. Well, that's a whole nother conversation to have. But anyway, that's all I got for you guys. Um, just wanted to make sure I gave you a little something for the last word this week. I'm going to end this like I end everything else. Believe in yourself first and foremost, because if you don't believe in yourself, of course, nobody else will believe in you. As always, my name is Derrick Lamon Jackson, and that is my time. Y'all have a good one. Peace out.